Hi, welcome to my channel, KCB Woodworks. As you can see, I'm still in my sling. I've got about 3 more weeks of this before I can start very gentle light movement. I'm going to be taking you through start to finish of a solid oak baby cot that I built from scratch myself. It started from rough sawn oak all the way to the finished product with lots of joinery. This was a learning experience for myself, so this is going to be one of 3 or 4 videos that I'm going to be doing. I hope you like it. If you do, please subscribe, drop me a like or a comment. I really appreciate it, and thanks for watching. Hope you enjoy. So it all started with some very simple drawings and measurements, which allowed me to buy all the correct amount of rough sawn oak. Then once I had this oak, I planed it on 2 sides before running it through the thickness planer, just to get that lovely grain and some nice smooth square sides. Once all the oak was milled and cut to size, I could start marking out all the mortises for the cot end framework. Next up, I used my drill press to clear most of the material out of the mortises before using the router with an edge guide to get some nice straight edges up to the markings. I got the ends nice and square with some chisel work, which allowed me to set a profile to router the rest of the material out and then tidy up the corners. Now that I had a perfectly square mortise, I needed to make the tenons, which I did using my table saw. Using the table saw sled, a stop block and setting the blade at the right height, it meant I could get consistent tenons all the way around and remove the bulk of it by doing it this way. I tidied up by knocking all the material off, taking care of those rough edges with the chisel to ensure a perfectly tight fit. I added a nice small chamfer just to the ends of the tenon. By doing this, it made the tenon much easier to locate into the mortise. And there it is, a perfectly fitting mortise and tenon, nice and tight. So by double checking each time after I'd shaved a bit off the fit of this joint, I was able to get all 8 joints nice and tight before any glue was added or pins to hold the joint. Now I had 8 tight-fitting mortise and tenon joints, it was time to do a final check of the cot end framework to see if both sides were square to each other and correct to all the measurements that I'd drawn out. I now had the framework for 2 cot ends, but I wanted some tapers on the end of the post, so I used my tapering jig to cut down 4 equal sides of the post. As you can see, my saw blade isn't tall enough to go through the sides of these posts, so I cut all 4 sides and then used the handsaw to finish off. I left enough material on these posts so I could actually finish off once I'd cut them off with the handsaw with a spiral router bit. Using the router bit to finish off just gave a really buttery smooth finish and kept the tapers really nice and square. Thanks for watching part 1 of this little mini series that I'm doing. Part 2 will take us to the next stage of this build, which was making the panelling for the ends and all the shaping and final touches.